here we go. We got all of our supplies out to braid my baby's hair. Blow dryer and everything. I already washed her hair with this shampoo and conditioner. This leave-in is in this spray with some oil and some water. This is what we use for braiding. Sometimes we use this. We usually use this for like ponytails because this kind of makes our hair curl. Butter is great. And then we'll put this stuff on afterwards. So join us in braiding hair. All right, let's do. I'm going to do very simple style, which really isn't a thing when you have this much hair, but simple-ish. Simple-ish. All right, get these braids out and get going. All right, hold on a second. All right, we got towels. Definitely need towels. Okay. All right, we got some leave-in conditioner, oil and water mixture. We start going back through these two sections. I'm gonna turn that one this way. Always start from the ends. Okay, so this is what my daughter's hair looks like when it's all detangled with just the leave-in water and oil mixture in her hair. So like I said, when you have this much hair, there's really no such thing as a quick style. So kind of like quickish because we have Rapunzel hair. So here you can see her hair is mostly blow dried already. Towards the end of blow drying, I like to add the butter and rub between my hands to warm it up and easier for it to get all over the hair. And then I go back through with the blow dryer to make sure we get it on every strand. Alright, so we are done with blow drying. Now this is what we're looking like. All of this hair, child. Alright, so in this clip, I'm molding the section before I actually start the stitch braid. This is sped up, so I know it looks like, you know, I'm being really rough on my daughter's head, but I promise you I'm not. It's sped up and our chair is very loose, so I need to work on that. When you're doing stitch braids, especially with zigzag parts, the molding step is absolutely everything. So you want the hair to lay exactly in the direction that the braid is going to flow. I'm using my braiding gel and making sure I get product all through the section, not just on top, but in between the hair as well. Then I go through with my rat tail comb and comb every strand into place to be sure that there is product on every single strand of hair, and the hair is all going in one clean direction, no crisscrossing, no random pieces, no flyaways. Because the cleaner the foundation is, the cleaner the braid is going to look. After the section is fully molded, that's when I go in to create the stitch pattern. I use the tip of my rat tail comb to carve out each stitch from the start of the braid all the way down. I try to keep them as uniform in size as possible so the braids look neat and consistent, and I will create all of the stitch sections ahead of time. So instead of picking up random pieces while I'm braiding, I'm pre-forming each section. This is a very long, tedious process. Like I said, this video is sped up, but it doesn't really seem like it because this takes a long time. This is about, I think, 20 minutes it took me to do this one braid just to create each stitch. I know it's tedious and it can be time consuming, so this is definitely not for everyone, but with the type of hair that my daughter has and how her hair holds or doesn't hold, depending on what exactly we're talking about, this is the absolute best way to do her hair. I've been doing her hair for her whole little life. You know, she's a teen. I've been doing her hair her whole life, and we've gone through many of products, many of ways, methods of styling and things, especially for braids, and this is by far the best one for her. Her braids last the longest this way, and also with this braiding gel. I absolutely love this braiding gel. I've seen some not so positive things said about it, but I've also seen a ton of positive, and we've had a positive experience with it. So right now, this is what we use. Stitch braids are all really about preparation and control. If your sections are molded properly and your stitches are really clean, the braid comes out super pretty. And that is the beauty of stitch braids, the nice clean lines. And you get that by using a fine tooth comb to some extent. My rat tail comb that I'm using, the point of that comb was not that sharp. I did use a nail file to file the tip of the comb a little bit sharper, not too sharp. You don't want to hurt yourself or anyone else, but you definitely need a fine point, and you get it with the nail file. Also, I use a edge brush comb on the really tiny beginner pieces for the braid, and even as I'm working down, sometimes I'll use it for the entire braid section, just depending on how big of a braid I'm doing, because it helps get every single tiny little hair going the direction that you need it to go, and that is extremely important when you're working with this type of hair and doing this kind of style. The stitch braids in general, like, you really need every single strand going where you need it to go, the right direction, or it's just not gonna look as pretty as it could. And braiding is art. I absolutely love art and creativity, and I just would love for it to come out nicely. This is just for her to get through the next few weeks, for her to go to school and everything, but I would still like it to look nice, you know. So I'm going to make sure that I go through and I rub every single little strand, and I bring the sections of hair to the center or wherever I want the braid to lay. In this situation, in this case, I want the braids to lay directly in the middle of the braid, in the section, I mean. So I will just keep using the little tiny comb or the rat tail comb, and then smooth it and pinch it to where I want it to sit. Fold it over like that and just keep going until I am done with the whole entire section. So it's a process. It's tedious, it's time consuming, but this gets the most wear out of it. Like, she can wear this style for the longest when I use this method of styling for her hair. So this is my go-to for her for stitch braids. Also, I want to talk about our setup for a second. We actually use a salon chair for her hair. And I know it might sound a little extra, but when your child has hair this long, it's really necessary. Her hair is literally Rapunzel length. It goes down past her waist, like basically to the back of her legs. It's very long, it's very curly, it's very thick, but the strands themselves are fine. So even though her hair is a lot, you know, with the thickness and everything, the texture is still super delicate. And because her hair is fine, it doesn't always hold styles the way you would expect thick hair to hold. It can slip and get tangled super easily, and it's not easy to manage in a regular chair at all. So having a salon chair makes such a difference for us. It reclines, it has a removable headrest. I can position her exactly how I need her to be. When you're doing detailed stitch braids, especially with zigzag parts, angles really do matter. I need her head tilted a certain way. If I need her steady, I need to see clearly. And when you're working with this much length, you need the hair to fall properly and not bunched up behind her back or in the waist where I can't see. So thankfully, our bathroom is really spacious, so the salon chair fits in here perfectly. I have room to move around. Her moved room to part, room to step back and check my work. And when you're braiding for hours, comfort really matters for both of us. And honestly, doing her hair is our little bonding time, so I want it to be the most enjoyable that it can be. Yeah, it's a process. Yes, it takes patience, but I love taking the time to make sure it's neat, healthy, and styled beautifully, especially with hair. This long, you really have to be intentional, which is why it takes so much time to mold each section and creating each stitch ahead of time. When you're working with fine, long hair, preparation is everything. Any hair, preparation is everything, but especially this type. The cleaner the base, the better the hair will hold. And with hair like hers, you want it really secure, but still gentle. Well, gentle enough. Now we're here at the last little section. I want to make sure I get as many of the little hairs as possible, but not too many, because we all know that can become a really sensitive area when you are braiding. Here I'm just making sure all of the little flyaways are out of my way, and I just start with the 3 sections and start braiding down. It's pretty simple once you have it prepped and everything, which is why I love to prep the stitch braid ahead of time. I've used many different tools over the years trying to, create the stitches as I braid, and I absolutely just can't do it with her hair. I can do it with other people's hair, but with her hair, I cannot do it. No matter how much product is in it, no matter how much molding I do ahead of time, it just is not working for us. So I just do this like this. Like I said, it's tedious, but it's all right because it keeps her hair neater, longer, and we can wear the style longer, and that's exactly what we need. We need to be able to wear the style for a few weeks so that we don't have to go through this process over and over again. I use my tangle teaser when I get to this point where I'm just braiding the rest of the hair down and we're not braiding at the scalp. I'll also use the rat tail comb, and I'll just continue to put braiding gel or edge gel, whatever gel you prefer, but we put ours on there and just keep making sure we're getting it through all the strands and making a nice smooth base to braid with, because you want the gel covering every single strand of hair and work through, and then the section nice and smooth to create these really smooth braids. And that is what keeps the hair in place for a long amount of time, or for a longer amount of time, and keeps your style nice. So now we're going on to this next braid, and we're gonna just do the same exact thing. I did do the same thing already here. I'm actually almost to the end already. So I'm gonna just use this comb of the end of the edge brush because it just works so well to get everything going in the right direction, make sure the product is on every single strand, and to mold and pinch the little piece together where we need it to go and flip it out of our way. It just works really well. Sometimes I use this end of the rat tail comb to part. I don't do that often It's usually in the smaller sections, but I prefer to use the fine tooth point of the comb instead of the rat tail point of the comb, the rat tail end of the comb, actually, I'm sorry. So I just use it in these smaller little sections right here. But getting the edge comb in here a couple of times and just smoothing it over, combing it through and smoothing it over really makes a difference. And your stitches, your parts, the precision, how much time and effort you put into every single section is going to make the difference of your braid being really neat or really not. And how long it lasts, because when you have stitch braids, you want the stitches to show. And if the hair is already not flat and smooth, it's not going to show long as the hair grows out. So there are a couple of spots where I braided, and as I'm grabbing the hair, it just didn't go well. It didn't get grabbed at the right spot, or it just got a little loose in my hand, and you can see it. You'll see it in like a spot or two. But it doesn't make that big of a difference. It does. It makes a big difference depending on how much of it just didn't get grabbed well. If it's a little too loose, it's okay. You're going to be able to tell, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. But if it's really loose, it's just going to look bad. And it just doesn't look good. So, yeah. But I'm braiding down here. Sorry about my angles. I'm still learning about the angles, y'all. We'll get there. But I'm just braiding down, grabbing one little piece at a time as I grab another section of hair. And I'm trying to be sure that I'm grabbing it towards the base, towards the root of the hair, to really get that clean, uniform look. But I definitely make a couple of mistakes in it. But the braid still comes out so pretty, and her hair still comes out really pretty, so it's all right. And I just was tired. I was not about to go back and fix it. See, you could literally see it right there when my hand moves again. Those two last pieces I grabbed, I just didn't grab them that well. So you can't really see the stitch right where my second knuckle is, right above my second knuckle on this braid. Well, the left hand. You can literally see it, that it's just not the best. But it's also, too, a very small little area. So, and that's another thing. When you're doing these zigzag braids, your sections, sometimes it's going to be pretty close together, but not so much that you can't see the parts. So it's good enough for us. So I'm just adding a little bit more gel on each section of her hair as I'm starting to braid down so that I can get it smooth. I'm also using my hands to just smooth over it, where I don't need a comb mat or a brush. You always want to make sure that there's enough butter on the ends of the hair so that the ends don't get tangled as you're manipulating the hair to braid so much, because without butter, it's just going to get super tangled as you move all that hair around constantly. So I also make sure that there's plenty of butter on the ends. And I still just keep using the comb or the tangle teaser to smooth out each section and keep everything detangled, like I said, because as you're moving it around, it's going to get tangled. And the hair is just going to keep moving. Well, her hair. So I just keep putting the gel, keep smoothing, keep combing or brushing as I'm braiding down, and it just helps make the braid really, really neat and last longer, because that is always my goal, is to keep the hair to last as long as possible. So it can get a little tedious. Her hair is definitely tedious because it's just long, and the type of hair she has and how it behaves and everything. So it's just a process. Here you see it's a little too tangled, so I was using the tangle teaser to get that out. So that's why I said you want to make sure you have enough butter. Put a lot of butter on the ends because the ends are the driest, they've been around the longest, so they're a little drier than the rest of the hair. So you want to make sure you put a lot of butter down there, and just enough edge gel or whatever type of gel you're using to braid the hair down. The only thing is that if you put too much product, it can cake and it can whiten up. So you want to make sure you don't do that too. But here I'm just continuing to use this tangle teaser to help get those tangles out at the bottom, because we needed to add a little bit more butter, which I did end up doing for the next section, so that it wouldn't be so much of a hassle to keep brushing it down. But eventually, as you braid down, you won't have to smooth each section or add gel to each section. As you get closer to the end, I just put enough gel and smooth with my hands, but that's not until you get to a certain amount of hair. When you're up higher like this towards where the hair first comes off the scalp, you're gonna need to keep brushing, keep smoothing, keep adding gel. But it's towards the ends, where the last few inches, where you won't have to do it anymore. Or I don't do it anymore on her hair, I'll say that. So I'm just gonna keep braiding this down. This video is also sped up. So again, it looks like I'm being super quick and rough, and I'm not. The video is sped all the way up. I'm still smoothing with my hands and the gel and the comb. Still using the tangle teaser to get the tangles out the ends, and it was much easier since I did make sure there was more butter on this section's ends. But regardless of how much butter you put, you're still gonna get some type of tangling happening, and you still have to go through and smooth it out. But also, as you braid down, you'll have to borrow hair from other sections to even them out. But once you get that done and braid all the way down, you have a beautiful braid. So we're almost done. All right, so now we're on to the other side of her head. We have 4 braids done already on the right, and now I'm working on the back left side. And whenever you're doing symmetrical styles like this, especially with zigzag parts, you want to get the other side to match as closely as possible. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it needs to look balanced. Absolutely has to look balanced. Or you're gonna be able to tell, and you're gonna wish it did. You'll notice here I'm using my precision rat tail comb. I'm actually parting with the tip of the comb itself, not the rat tail end. Sometimes the very tip of the fine tooth comb just really gives you that cleaner, sharper line than the end of the tail will. It just glides differently through the hair. So I use that to carve the first part, then I go back and refine it if I need to. It's a small detail, but small details make a big difference with stitch braids and with zigzag parts. And I actually added this clip in because I realized at the beginning of the video, I didn't really show myself parting the first braid, or any of those braids for the most part. I just kind of jumped into it. So I wanted you guys to actually see how I create the part and how I make sure everything lines up properly, especially when you're trying to match the opposite side. Clean parts are really, like, for real, the foundation to a really, really clean style. If your parts are sharp and nice and clean, and you make sure everything is laid down and molded really, really well, your parts are going to be beautiful, and it's going to help your braid be nice and beautiful, and it'll make your braids hit every single time, and we definitely want that. So I'm just going back over right here to really make sure that this section on the left side is as similar to the section on her right side, so that it just really looks nicer. But you can see here with the fine tooth comb, you can really, 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 really get in there and get some beautiful lines. So I love, love, love this comb, and I love my tangle teaser. We're always going to go back through after we manipulate the hair and get the tangles out with the tangle teaser. All right, so once all 8 braids were finished, it was time to set the style. I went in with mousse from the very roots of her hair all the way down to the ends to smooth everything. Mousse really helps tame flyaways, reduce frizz, and really bring the braids together. It gives that clean, polished finish. After applying the mousse, I blow dried her hair. This step is very important because it locks everything in. It needs to be dry. It helps the braids set
keeps the parts crisp and gives the style longevity. And with her fine hair, setting it properly really makes a difference. After I make sure that all of the mousse disappears, it's dry, then I go in with the Kaleidoscope Platinum Shine Braid Spray from the Braids line. Absolutely love that product line. It's basically a shine spray just to give the braids that glossy, healthy finish. I don't drench it, just a light mist, enough to catch the light and make everything look really nice and fresh. And of course, we had to add some wooden beads, just 4 on the ends of each braid, not too much. My daughter doesn't like it. So, and it always adds a little bit moving, which is really cute. So I also put it back into a little ponytail to give it a little feminine look, and that's it. She's clean, she's pretty, all done. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Next time.